It is the RIOT podcast. I feel like I've really gathered a lot from today's show.
Well, that's good.
When we were doing the show, I didn't feel like we were really
hitting all of them out of the park.
I'm thinking like single or doubles. Not home runs.
Sometimes it surprises you. Now, again, this may be quantity over quality, but you're at least getting a lot for this podcast.
So the podcast just grabs you right out of the gate. When Obadiah talks about the Christmas Chronicles, and we go from there into California's shutdown, another phone call I got about a PlayStation 5, TikTok food trends for 2020, Australian snakes. The most important thing in the podcast, Super Inframan.
If anybody watches it, please let him know.
Please.
Based on him watching it.
Nobody.
It's one thing for you guys to be supportive of what he's watching, but it's another thing to go and actually actively seek it out and watch it yourself.
Nikki, the reality of it is that I am falling further and further into my own hole, and pretty soon no one's going to be able to get me out.
Well, no one will be able to connect with you on any of these things.
What am I supposed to do?
If it makes you happy, there's nothing really wrong with it.
Can't be that bad. Okay.
If it makes you happy.
So let's see. We talk about trivia. A great time to get a real Christmas tree. Gas station sushi.
Mm-hmm.
No one caring about Super Inframan. 2020 foods according to Grubhub. Disappointment for Christmas. Wonder Woman 1984.
Lots of good stuff.
On that disappointment for Christmas thing, seriously, I'm putting together a thing for another thing. I really would like to hear if you got... it's not that you wanted something and didn't get it. I would like to hear from somebody that you got something for Christmas that you really wanted, and then after you got it, you were like, oh, gosh.
In some way, it disappointed you.
It was just disappointing. And I don't know what that would be. You see the commercial and it does all this stuff. And then when you get it, it's like, oh.
It's not at all what they said.
It doesn't really do any of these things. So something along those lines. If you got it, text it or email it, riot@radiou.com. Anything else?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, you guys enjoy the podcast. Have a great Monday. Remember, this week is like getting 5 blank canvases.
Did you put that in the podcast?
I didn't.
You didn't?
And you're an artist. All right. So each day, let's pull out a new canvas and make a beautiful picture.
Yes.
You can do this. It's the Riot.
It's the worst of the Riot on RadioU.
Last night, I finally sat down and watched the Christmas Chronicles 2. Now, I say finally because...
It's been out a few weeks.
It has, and I really liked the Christmas Chronicles 1.
Oh.
The first 20, or let's say 10 or 15 minutes of the Christmas Chronicles 1, not good.
Sure.
But as soon as Kurt Russell shows up as Santa, that movie sings, and literally, and then it's good.
Do you feel like in the second one they realized just no one else but Kurt?
No.
Oh, yeah. They bring in others.
No. The second one, first off, the budget is probably double what the first one is. Easily. It is just such... The first one looked like a movie where wherever they could, they were just like, cut a corner here.
Save a little money here.
Well, whatever.
In order to afford Kurt Russell, I guess.
Well, the second film, they're like, spend a little extra. How about a little more on this, a little more on that? And they managed to make a movie that... Kurt Russell, they absolutely shove him just to the back.
Really?
Yeah, it's way more about, I felt like, about Goldie Hawn and some of the other characters. And they even kind of take some swipes at him in a way where I was like, guys, no offense, but like, that's the whole reason I'm here.
You're missing it.
So, there are a couple of really great moments, in one including a Nerf gun that I thought was just like, this is great. But in general... Not great.
Aww.
Yeah, not great. I was really disappointed with it. And, okay, can I just tell you, that movie's kind of weird. This is the thing. I'm going to make a suggestion that you do something today that will ruin everything for you.
Oh, everybody get ready.
Pay attention to what people say and pay attention to the words that are in songs. And if you start listening, you're going to be like, wait, what? Wait, whoa.
Is there some weird stuff in there?
That movie, I am not making it up. I swear it's real. It basically ends with them worshiping a tree.
Really?
There's a tree in the middle of the Christmas village or whatever, and it ends with a family kind of praying to Santa / the tree / the moon, and then Santa and everyone coming together around to seriously like worship the tree. It's weird.
Like in a Festivus way, like a pole, or?
I don't know. Now, admittedly, some people are going to be like, oh, I didn't get that at all. But like, I didn't ask to get it. I didn't whatever. I'm just sitting there watching it, and I was like, from it? If you listen to the lyrics to that song and if you watch what's going on here, these people are worshiping a tree. Like, it's weird. It's weird.
Just feels very odd.
There are a couple of moments in there where it's like they are trying to, you know how it is. Like Christmas is kind of like it started as a religious holiday, but it's really gotten to be this whole other thing. But they still want to like throw some kind of supernatural meaning. So they do. And it's tree worship.
The magic of Christmas.
It's weird. It's so weird. I'm like, is this happening right now?
Well, that's an interesting note then.
I'm out, Nikki.
No more?
I can't go back to it.
What if they do a third one?
I mean, you know how
Fool
it
me
is.
once.
I'll probably end up watching it. But the other side of it is I talk about how I like Christmas Chronicles. Do you know how many times I watched it?
One. What we want is just...
I never went back. I kept saying I'd go back and watch it again. I never did.
We just want a new Christmas movie. We just want an amazing one. It just doesn't happen as often.
Oh, I can see a lot of people liking the movie that I watched last night, but I just walked away from it like, man, what is this?
No, thank you.
What is this? I got a Christmas tree. I don't pray to it. I just put, presents under it. That's what it's there for.
The worst of the worst. Are you ready? The Riot Podcast. RadioU. RadioU.
On Friday, we were talking about California's new ideas about shutdowns. They had divided California into 5 regions, and they said in each of these regions, if the capacity at the ICUs drops below 15%, and that's the intensive care unit at the hospital, then they will be shutting down and or going into lockdown.
So instead of going by positive tests and stuff,
Right.
using the hospital system as the way to gauge things.
See, it's going all negative. Is that what you're saying?
What do you mean?
Well, you said instead of positive tests, they're going the other way.
I mean, like basing it off of how many people have tested positive, which can go one way or the other.
You just had to go negative.
I don't know. That's the word.
But they have now 2 of the 5 regions are entering lockdown. It was like as of midnight last time, California time. So today, when you wake up in California, you will be under those restrictions. So at least in those areas, in Central Valley and Bay Area, which you'll have to look at.
You really need to look at your area because there's so much confusion still.
Lots
as to
of confusion.
What's where and what do you have to do and all that. It's a bit hard to follow.
Man, I'll tell you what, the video Nikki just showed me about the Pineapple Hill Grill.
Oh, that was everywhere over the weekend. It just shows you how bad it is for so many owners of restaurants and places who have to close down part or do this. And she had put in a lot of money for outdoor, and then in that area that got closed down. It's just really hard to see. Obviously you have people that are affected who are sick and ill, and you don't want to spread that, but then you just have this side too, and it's just so sad to see.
Yeah, it's bizarre because she's having to shut down her restaurant, and in her parking lot where she has shut down, they are filming an NBC show called Good Girls, and they've got all their catering tents set up, and it's exactly what she has set up. She's not allowed to have that, but they're allowed to have that. It's rough.
It's heartbreartbreaking to see all of that.
Rough.
So that was sad from the weekend too.
Yeah, so that's something they're working on. I heard the Ohio governor, I heard him over the weekend, and he was like, we're going to have to do more because it's not working. And I was like, oh man, here we go. I did more. I had the COVID.
Well, I mean, you did all that. But...
I know they're trying to keep other people from getting. I get the whole thing, but that's where we are, people. Like, it's going to get more intense. So get the toilet paper and the peanut butter.
They've asked that no one.
Please don't do that.
Please don't do that. I don't know if toilet. Well, I know toilet paper did, but did peanut butter ever get really hard to find? Or
I don't think so.
There's always plenty of that to go around.
That's just what I think about.
Is
I'm
that
like,
at the number one thing?
Get some peanut butter. If we got peanut butter, you put it on crackers. If we get desperate enough, we'll put a little on the toilet paper.
It's good protein.
It is.
It'll take care of you for a while.
I'm telling you, like, you'll get tired of it, but it fills you up.
That's sad.
Okay.
That's really sad. You go in like, what are you getting? Just the essentials, all right? Toilet paper and peanut butter.
Gonna get some some crackers, 2. Hopefully that'll make it. But if you have to, you just spoon it out.
That's the worst. There.
Been there, done that, guys.
Still add a little jelly with the same spoon. You're fine.
The definition of insanity is putting the riot on again and again and expecting a better result. It's the worst of the riot on Radio U.
Again, it's starting to happen. It's December 7th. So we are 18 days from Christmas. Really, at this point, we're in the season, so you can end up with a gift at any time. Plus, you got to do the shopping.
Sure.
I did some shopping over the weekend, not done yet, but I got the message last night from a friend of mine, and she was like, "Hey, is the PS5 out yet?" And I was like, she's like, "Yeah, I think I'm going to get one." And she was talking about her husband.
Aww.
It was just like, oh.
She doesn't know, or was she trying to still get help?
No, she doesn't know.
Aww, she's innocent.
She thought she could just go to the store and buy something.
Yeah.
Which is just, who's ever heard of that?
Well, not this year, and you can't still go online to buy one. That's not available.
So I was like, no, it's out, but it's really hard to get. And she's like, so you can't just go buy it? And I was like, oh, come here.
Again, she wasn't fishing for help, but she was just honestly looking.
You're a sweet kid. Aww. Let me give you a hug.
Does she understand really now though that she can't just she'll have to work hard at trying to find one? As
a way to help her understand, I went ahead and sent her the PS5 song from Saturday Night Live over the weekend, and I was just like, here. They're so hard to get that it's becoming a running joke on SNL. And now it's made it. And so, you're getting it. Aw, that's too bad. You're getting it. So she has a backup, or? I don't know. I'd like... What if she comes to you and is like, yeah, the backup is, there's also this new Xbox, too. Like, well, let me play this other song for you. I feel like the Xbox might be a slightly bit easier to find. I feel that way, too. It seems like it's easier to find. It is still hard to find. Oh, nearly impossible. Like what? Let me just say this. Are you willing to commit? Are you? What are you willing to do? This week, you're going to have to go all in. I'm talking, you don't go to school, you don't go to work, you don't show up for social events. You gotta get on Discord, you gotta get on Reddit. You gotta shift your hours. Your nighttime will be your day. You're gonna have to get up very early to get these deals, or just not go to bed. I mean, it's going to be hiring bots. I mean, there's just a lot of things that you're going to have to do. So I just want to know up front, how serious are you about this? Because you're going to have to commit in order to make this happen. Or what you can do if your friend wants one is, you could do the whole, I'm printed out, here's the money, and you can have it whenever it comes out. You can do that. A picture? Yeah, it'll be there eventually. Yeah, that's going to make for a pretty disappointing Christmas morning. Yes, it is, but it's better than nothing. I love the meme that's going around. It's like, all you adults that have a PlayStation realize that you've ruined Christmas for a kid by having one. No. And I'm just like, no. I didn't ruin Christmas. Scalpers ruined Christmas. Okay, they're the ones that are ruining Christmas. I was just a paying customer. You just got yours. Yeah, no. These people that are like, we bought 3,000 and we're selling them for 1,500 a thing. Those people canceled Christmas. Not us. Okay? Just don't. I don't want to hear about it. I'm a good person. That's an annoying meme. And I've been playing Phoenix Rising, and I like it. Aww. Yeah, but, oh, boy, the phone calls are starting to happen. It's getting rough out there.
You thought they were bad live? Well, just wait until you hear this. The Worst of the Riot podcast with Obadiah and Nikki.
The truth of the matter is, I've just failed as a social media influencer, because I'm not one, to really move over to TikTok. I don't know why. You would love it. Not necessarily to make it, but just to enjoy the content that's created. I know. I don't know why. I just haven't. And instead, I'm going the other direction. Instead of moving forward, I've gone back to Reddit. I never even, I never watched Reddit, or did Reddit before. Yeah, but it's had a resurgence too, so I wouldn't feel so bad about that's where you get your content. And a lot of Reddit is basically what's on the
TikTok.
A lot of people reposting TikTok.
Yeah, just the For You page stuff.
It's true. So, Nikki, talk to me as our resident TikTok expert about what's happening.
Well, I was looking through TikTok. They released their top 10 lists in different categories of like content creators, popular songs used, trends throughout the year. And I found the top 10 sort of TikTok food hack related category I thought I could share.
You know what? Talk to me about the TikTok food related hack.
So
thing.
hack is not necessarily the word, but what was the trends for all the food videos for TikTok?
What were people eating on TikTok?
Yeah, basically. So 10, I must have missed this one, but the DIY hazelnut spread trend.
What?
Number 9 was how to make chocolate from scratch. And a lot of this stuff was during quarantine when we had a lot of time. 8 was the ice cream cake. If you've ever seen the Cold Stone Creamery workers that make cakes.
Yeah.
So that's the trend too.
To make your own?
Yeah, well, it's not making your own, but it's watching them make cakes for people.
Okay. All right.
You have the cream cheese and bell peppers. That was everywhere over TikTok.
That's not good.
You never saw that?
No, I said it's not good.
Oh, okay. Different.
I did see it. It's not good.
Number 6 was Gordon Ramsay and his reaction videos. Those are great.
Dude.
Because that guy is so mean.
Gordon Ramsay is like so over the top, man.
He's great with it. Number 5, donut cereal. Number 4, oddly satisfying for the barbecue lovers. Number 3, this was a big one. Banana bread. That was earlier in the year.
Man, I love banana bread. And don't judge me. Put peanut butter on it.
Number 2 was whipped coffee. That was everywhere, too.
Yeah, that was a whole thing.
And number 1, the number 1 food trend from TikTok for videos for 2020, pancake cereal. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
The little tiny pancakes you would make. Then you'd put them in a bowl and make cereal out of it. Add some milk.
Or just maple syrup. So it's like the milk, but it's maple syrupy.
A lot of maple syrup. So that was the top 10 trends from food items for TikTok, if you watch a lot.
That depends. Is there sugar in maple syrup?
Yes, there is. Okay, good.
So, Nikki, did you participate in any of these videos or just watch them?
No, I definitely know the bell pepper cream cheese thing.
Ew.
Well, it's not that bad, but it's that and the everything but the bagel seasoning. That was just literally on everything.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. For me, my number 1 trend when it came to food this year was, did I mention peanut butter?
Yes, you did.
Okay, all right.
Yes, you did.
You know,
that's a classic. That technically wins every year.
I'm surprised it didn't make the top 10, spoonful of peanut butter.
No, that was never a trend. If you want to get on it, you could maybe make it a trend. I don't think there's enough time for this year, but...
And Nikki, I'm just going to tell you, listen, everybody's like, oh, don't say it. I'm just going to be straight with you. I don't think I'm good looking enough for TikTok or Instagram. I've had to stay in the word categories. Like anytime when people are going to start looking at me, it's bad.
So with TikTok, you don't have to still show yourself.
I just show what's in front of me.
Just show the spoon with the peanut butter.
Well, that's what I do on Instagram too. So maybe that's good.
Well, again, I don't think you can make it into a 2020 food trend, but there's all next year. You could start off early.
Like that's my New Year's resolution. I'm gonna get fired up on another platform and get started.
There's nothing else but a spoonful of peanut butter.
It's good. It's not crunchy either. You can keep that crunchy crap, all right? That's really them not doing as much work and then just selling it to you.
But it tastes good with a little crunch.
This is RadioU's Worst of the Riot.
It's been a longstanding policy of mine to be both fascinated and repelled by Australia. I'll tell you why I feel this way. One, I think that going to Australia is the closest that you and I will ever get to visiting an alternative dimension. Because if you go to Australia, they have a lot of the same things that we do, but they have different names.
Different lingo.
Obviously, they have that absurd accent. I don't know where they got that. And you get down there, and then instead of like Burger King, they have... It's like Happy Jack's or something like that. And so there are all these restaurants where you'd be like, you'd know the logo, you might even know the food, but it looks different. And you could only assume that you've woken up in another dimension.
But I wonder if it feels
a different
more
timeline. If
it's more comforting, because it is so familiar feeling. But then there are parts of Australia where it is intense.
Yeah, here comes the big number 2 we're going to drop on you. And that is, I can't go to Australia because the entire island, and yeah, it's a big island, but it's still an island, it seems to be designed to kill you.
There's a lot of creatures. That's mostly the biggest thing. A lot of creatures.
For example, let's say that you're on your way just to the island itself. There's great white sharks all over the place, especially at the Great Barrier Reef, but still, they got a lot of great whites. Great white sharks are like not just the kind of shark that eats you. That great whites don't eat you. They just swallow you whole. That's how big they are. They're like 18 feet long. It's bad, guys. It's bad. Then that's one of the big ones. But see, it wants to off you in subtle ways.
The spiders.
Little spiders that have enough poison to kill an elephant.
Fuzzy big spiders.
Terrifying. And then you have something like this. You stop for gasoline.
Okay.
Petrol. Mm-hmm. You need a little something to put in the tank, a couple of liters to keep you going. And you're just sitting there, and all of a sudden, what do my wandering eyes approach? But a huge freaking python that's been living in the trash can.
It's coming out of the trash bin. That's really funny. So, like, next to the pump, when you fill up gas, there's always a trash can. There's a big snake coming out of it.
And then the big old snake ends up coming out. It wraps itself around the pump. Dude, no, I can't. I can't live in a nation where at any moment, like, see, with this snake coming out of the trash can, I'll never be able to throw anything away again as long as I live.
What, because you think it's going to come out after you?
Well, that was an unreasonable fear until about 30 seconds ago.
So they're saying it's a carpet python, which are not venomous, but they can cause puncture wounds, and they're rather big. So no one really knows where this picture came from, but it became viral in Australia from the big snake coming out of the trash can.
Do you want that? Anything? Can you think of anything that you want to bite you, like clamp down and really get going on you?
No, but I mean, the trash can at the gas station, are you touching it? Because do you know how gross it is? You throw whatever you can in there as far as possible. It's not like you're putting your hand in there.
Okay, Nikki.
You can live in there, except for the person who has to remove the trash. That would be bad.
There's nothing good about this. Don't try to act
make it
like,
okay.
Oh, well, we can all live in harmony.
You can let the snake be.
No. That's why, again, I've said it. I can't even visit Australia. Like, I just can't go. The entire island is a large Obadiah repellent. So if you can't stand me, that's a great place for you to head to.
They had another snake issue back in September when apparently there was a tiger snake that was underneath someone's car. So snakes in cars are a thing sometimes. And it then, when the person went in to pay, got off the car and then went on to the pump, like the nozzle and stuff, and wound its way around that.
Did you say a tiger snake?
It was a tiger snake.
What's that?
I don't know. I'll have to look it up.
I don't want to know.
I don't know. We don't live in a snake area, so we don't really have to know too much about these things.
You know, as much as I hate the seasonal depression, if it's the price I pay to kill snakes like this,
because it gets cold enough.
You know what? I'm count me in.
But if it's a big enough snake, would it still die, or it'd have to get pretty cold?
I don't know.
It would keep it from getting that big.
It'd slow it down, and that'd be enough for me to be like, well, look whose head just came off. Whoops.
Hey, tiger snake's actually way worse than the carpet python. It's highly venomous.
Well, see, there you go. Yet another reason not to move to Australia. Don't want to go there.
They look like tigers, like with the stripes.
I don't have anything to say about that. I'm that terrified.
It was bad enough the first time around, but now it's worse. Don't believe us? Just keep listening. You'll find out soon enough. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
So over the weekend, I watched the Christmas Chronicles 2. I found it to be a little disappointing.
Just didn't like it.
But after that, last night, I just happened to decide to check out something I had heard of and have kind of meant to watch, but I've never actually watched it. And that was the Super Inframan.
And what is this?
It is
the Super what?
The Super Inframan. INFRAMAN.
From 1975?
Nikki, this.
What does it look like? Is that Power Rangers or?
Well, it is a Sentai-like thing. Like that. It is. Oh my gosh. It's one of the best.
Oh, it's Chinese Superman.
It's one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Is it like because it's so bad or because it's actually good?
It's both at the same time. These people that made this movie, the level of enthusiasm that is on display, I mean, they are going for it. And the stuff that happens is so crazy. Like, it's crazy, man. I'm talking, there's this disaster scene. There are people on fire jumping out of windows, and you're just like, what is going on?
So
what is going on?
I'll read the synopsis. It's a kung fu superhero with built-in gadgets, and he fights an ancient demon princess and her army of monsters.
She's a dragon, kind of. And then they do this thing where this guy is supposed to be rescuing this kid from a burning building. So he's running, holding an actual kid. It's not a doll. And they're like throwing flaming balls at him.
Aww.
And they are real. It's not.
It's before some rules went into place with child actors.
It's not like they're like, oh, we'll put that in post. No, this guy is having flaming things thrown at him. So his terror and intensity, it's real. It's real.
So you thought it was worth the watch?
I'm halfway through it, and I cannot wait to go home and finish this movie. I can't wait.
That's a sign of a good story.
Is it? I don't even know if there's a story. It's just crazy. And it's on Amazon Prime.
So they call it Inframan.
Yes. Here in the U.S., it's called Super Inframan. So whatever. The other thing that's weird is
an hour and 30 minutes long.
It's not super long. And
when you have so much intensity, it's not able to be.
Well, and they just jump right in. You know how a lot of things
in our cinema,
you got to build up to it, introduce the characters, get to know whatever. That's not how this one works. They just go for it
right away. Nice. Well, I think we can appreciate that
right away.
Boy, it looks so bad.
Oh no, you can't. It's not just that it looks bad.
I see him. He's in like a ship, but he's bouncing so much that it looks like the floor is just trampolines.
Maybe it is.
Actually, it has to be.
He does a lot of punching and kicking and like breaking stuff. And it is funny. Like when he wakes up from his transformative event, he starts breaking the lab that he's in. And I was like, oh, he's crazy. And it was like, no, he was just supposed to be demonstrating his powers.
But you shouldn't do that indoors. So,
well, they eventually send him out. But
gotcha.
Oh, my gosh.
What'd you do with your weekend, Obi?
Super Inframan.
And you enjoyed it. A lot.
I laughed so hard. It's great. I can't wait to go finish it.
So does this fall under then how you enjoy to watch like classic movies from, what was it, 1975? That's a classic movie then?
45 years old.
Yeah.
What does this movie have to teach us today?
It's a good question to ask.
I'll tell you what it means. We should start using real fires again.
And real kid actors in those scenes.
When you see it, you will not be able to watch this movie without yelling. I don't know what you're going to be yelling, but you will be yelling something.
Maybe the Riot would sound better if they spent less time improving their lives at their gym. That was sarcasm. It's the Riot on RadioU.
Well, Nikki, it's time for changes. Mm-hmm. Changes. We were having an ugly Christmas sweater party. We are now having a Super Inframan viewing party. So
are we doing a Facebook viewing party?
It's going to be different than what it was, but I want you to know.
I didn't sign up for that.
You'll thank me.
I will.
You'll thank me.
I signed up for the ugly Christmas sweater stuff. We are going to do movie trivia with Christmas movies.
Yeah, we do. There was if you go back and watch the archive of last year's movie trivia that we were doing, it's
not fair. Obi only knows trivia, like all of it. His whole head is filled with years and years of trivia that I don't even have any clue about. It's amazingly a talent that you have for remembering stuff for trivia.
Right.
And
not
anything else.
So, like,
trivia.
for example, Nikki's like, hey, did you remember to put the jewel back in the statue so the entire world won't be cursed? And I'll be like, oh, crap.
I set a reminder, but the reminder didn't work.
More like, did you turn in your timesheet so you can get paid? No, I'm good for it. Just give me some money.
It's fine. It's no problem. But movie trivia is something he does know about.
Oh, man, my brain just sucks it up.
It spits out like right away, too. You don't even have to even think about it. So movie trivia with Christmas stuff, it's an unfair advantage that you have over everybody.
Nikki began doing things like hitting me, blocking the bell.
A light arm slap, you mean?
It was rough.
I almost feel like I should get like 5 seconds ahead. I get that as a way to balance the system out.
So it's like golf where you get a handicap?
Pretty much.
Like, I can't remember how that works in golf, but it's something, whatever.
Or Chris, who will put together the trivia for us, needs to go so obscure that maybe then both of us don't know. But you go obscure, too, with movies.
See,
in fact, sometimes you're better about that. So we'll see. It'll be lots of fun, and we're not going to be sitting next to each other, so I can't hit you this time.
Well, that's a relief.
No arm slap.
That's a relief. Unlike last time.
Well, I was just trying to hover over the bell to ring it just so I could be closer to it, and he was too close.
It was, it was very mature, and if you take some time and go see, you'll see just how mature it was.
Yeah!
You were one of the lucky few who missed the riot when they were live. Yet here you are.
I also like to live dangerously.
This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
There will never be a better time to buy a Christmas tree.
Well, they're saying then that would be what? This coming weekend would be the last big one for if you wanted to get a live Christmas tree. They say that everybody's taking all the good ones, and they've been doing that, and you're going to want to go this weekend.
We're reading here an interview with Doug Hundley of the National Christmas Tree Association.
That's a thing.
It's a thing.
And that's a guy.
So a lot of people are concerned that the tree yield would be a lot smaller this year because the wildfires in California.
They had concern that it affected Christmas tree farms, which they said it only really took out 2 of the larger ones, but the rest were okay. And they also said because of overplanting in previous years, so I didn't even know this was all a thing, but overplanting of Christmas trees from earlier years meant that people and places had been lessening the planting in the most recent years. So there was just a lower amount of Christmas trees.
And they say that they actually are in a place now where demand is meeting supply, which is good. Or I guess it's the other way around. Supply is meeting demand. They say it's a great time to get a live tree, though this year people are buying them earlier than ever. So most of the time people go out, they say the two Sundays or weekends after Thanksgiving are where they do the majority of their selling. And they're basically just out there. And again, Big Christmas Tree would say this.
Well, they're just telling you to buy it earlier. I thought you had to wait until it was close enough to Christmas because then it would just die.
I wondered the same thing.
So I didn't think you could get a live Christmas tree as early, but they say that Thanksgiving weekend and then the weekend after was always the 70 to 90% of the live Christmas trees would be taken by then. So they just said that because of higher demand of people wanting to put up their Christmas trees earlier than normal, you would want to go because there might not be as many of the nice trees left.
Well, what do you think? Like, you're not a real tree. Me either.
I've never had a live tree.
Me either.
Especially with pets. Like, the water bowl. Like, I just don't know how well that'll go.
Nikki's pets can't be trusted with anything.
They can't, and I don't want to water anything else. So there it is, too. I don't want to water it.
That works.
So I'd rather just have my other tree, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah. You have a huge tree, too.
Yeah, I have a big tree.
Yeah. And is that one, did you buy one of the ones that's like electronic?
What do you mean?
That it like puts itself up?
Oh, no. No. There's a good old Costco tree. I think it comes in 5 pieces.
Okay.
Eric gets the ladder out. It might be a little big. It's a little big.
Yeah, but you guys have a great room.
It's fine. It works. And then I had my old tree before the big one, and I finally put that up in the bedroom this year. I'm tempted just to leave that thing all year long.
Yeah? Well, that's what you did upstairs.
And then we have a Christmas tree that's been...
It's
just stayed there the whole year.
In the RadioU offices, there's a tree that's been up all year.
But you know what? With the year everybody's had, like, I didn't even notice it after a certain point. It was just, the tree's there. That was it.
Hey, everything is that way. Like, you can leave anything out. See, Nikki, now you understand what it's like to be me.
Like your desk.
Like my desk, when you go to my desk, you're like, there's crap everywhere. I'm like, I don't even see it.
No, it's not that. It's just, you're like, oh, that's been there for months. Like, it's just sitting there, and you can tell it's something that you probably need, and it's just there for so long, but it just blends in, and then you forget about it.
You just forget.
Well, the tree's no different. But if you want a live tree, maybe this would be the weekend or the week that you're supposed to get it.
Dude, you should go out during the week. That's what I do. Like, anytime everybody else is going to go on the weekends, and, let those poor people who have to go on the weekend go. If you can squeeze it in one night this week,
If you could make a meeting somehow a part of like the drive over there or when you're out at the farm getting the tree, that's work hours, okay? And that'll be fine. Take your class while you're there. And then you get your tree and then you head back.
Still get counted for attendance.
It does.
Counts.
We would give the Riot flowers to show our appreciation, but Obadiah's probably allergic. What isn't he allergic to? This is the Riot on RadioU.
I eat gas station food, which is sad. It's sad.
Well, you have a roller dog when they were available.
Yeah, the roller dogs, I never see those anymore. Or if I do, okay, I realize roller dogs always look rough, but it is possible for them to look even more rough. You understand what I'm saying? Like there's rough and then there's like rough.
Well, I thought for COVID stuff, that had to go.
No, they're back out.
They're back out?
They're back out, depending on where you go, I suppose. Then, of course, they have like every gas station I go to, I feel like they've all gotten upgrades here lately. So now they're like, yeah, try our new.
Well, they wanted to become a lunch destination. So they really tried hard to make it seem like you were thinking of going to, I don't know, McDonald's, Wendy's, or the gas station. And they were trying to make it be like a combo pack thing so that it would save time for your busy day.
Well, I mean, you got to stop and get gas. While you're there, you just roll in and grab yourself a roller dog, or in this case, maybe some sushi. I have lions. I don't like sushi anyway. But
it'd be different if you did. Even though I've never been tempted at a gas station, but sometimes you just want some sushi and that's fine.
See, I feel like sushi is shady. But gas station sushi is like, forget it.
But when you hear this story, it's horrific. But they're also saying that it probably has nothing to do with the gas station, that this was really something that was in the sushi fish at its beginning stages. So this was probably already in there.
Here's what I want to do before we do this. I just want to put it out there. We're going to tell the story in a couple of minutes, but I want you to text right now. 877-2-RADIO-U. 1, if you've had gas station sushi. 2, if you would have gas station sushi.
So what do you count? Now, would you consider like sometimes grocery stores have their gas station and sometimes they put things that would be in the store, they put it out there?
Yeah.
Would you count that the same? If you're getting it from a place where you can also get gas, do you?
It's the same.
It's the same. Okay.
I'm going to have to call it the same, even if it has a mothership that it reports to.
Well, the mothership's giving it to the front station because it's probably close to expired.
Yeah, I mean, like they're not putting their premium stuff out there.
All right. So where, if not from a gas station, where's the other questionable locations?
So 877-2-RADIO-U. I want to hear, has anybody done this? And don't be afraid. We're going to tell everyone your name. I mean, we'll...
Just first name.
Just first name.
That's it. No one will know it's you.
We'll give them your number.
The Riot really wanted to do this live, but now they can play video games and eat rice cakes instead. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
The question I posed was, do you eat gas station sushi? And I wanted you to text 877-2-RADIO-U. It's not too late for that. Tim says, I watch a doctor on YouTube called Chubby Yuma. In a couple cases he's had have been gas station sushi.
That's the person who did a YouTube video on this story.
Oh, okay,
so that person's involved in this. They verified it, I think, through that.
Oh, yeah. So let's see. Matt says, when I was stationed in Germany, I had gas station food for lunch once. I had the worst case of Montezuma's revenge. See, I didn't know he was in Europe. That it has completely turned me off from gas station food. That was 20 years ago.
Didn't even need to be sushi.
Yeah. Let's see. Aaron says, my husband will occasionally do the sushi they make at the deli inside Kroger.
That's fine. I feel like that's a better chance than out in the gas station.
Let's see. Mark in Oklahoma says, I used to eat gas station food all the time when I was in school and still worked construction, but I could never eat sushi. In microbiome, we had to learn way too much about various bacteria and how quickly it can grow on food. Scared me a lot, except for the taquitos and hot dogs for some reason.
Woo! Nothing wrong with that, I guess.
Hey, man, at least with those taquitos and hot dogs, like, they're...
I think the heat burns some of that out. It's fine.
Come on. Let's see. Rachel says, I haven't had gas station sushi, but I've had grocery store sushi. A lot of people feeling that. I would never buy gas station sushi. However, the grocery store was actually pretty good.
And I mean, deep down, guys, where do you think the gas station sushi, though, is coming from?
From the ocean?
No, I mean, like, where are they getting it from? There's one place that's sending it all out.
That's what we're scared of.
I know. Where's it coming from?
DJ says no and no. We're talking about whether or not you would eat gas station sushi. Sally says, I have not had gas station sushi, and no way. That sounds gross. Keith says no and no. That grocery store sushi is borderline. Eli says never.
It's really hard because I really love sushi, but it's hard to find a nice place where they're not violating some sort of rule. Honestly. And all you have to do, don't ever look at the reviews. That's the worst place to go to because it really opens your eyes on some of the, and that's not just with sushi, that's with every place you love.
Yeah, I guess.
Go look at it and you'll be really disappointed.
Well, here's the thing that gets me is that, like, for me, I look at sushi and I'm like, well, it's not cooked, so it's not safe. But anything they deep fry would be safe. And then, you know,
that's why your chicken fingers are so safe.
We have Hudson who goes and finds himself a Band-Aid in the crab rangoon and ruins that.
I know, and that place sells sushi as well, and I used to like it. But I can't go back.
You got sushi there?
Yeah, they have a person who would show up every so often. It wasn't consistent enough.
I feel like if I'm going to have sushi, it has to be so insanely expensive. One, I wouldn't have it anyway because I hate fish. But two, I need it to be insanely expensive because I need that person to somehow guarantee
quality, you think? I don't think one equals the other, though.
That it's clean and good and well.
That's not any place we're near. Most of us. We need to go someplace else for that.
I know. It's a dice roll.
It is.
And I appreciate that a lot of you are saying that you wouldn't do it. Jeff says that the Kroger sushi is worth it. That's not a gas station. A grocery store?
Yeah, it's Ralph's as well.
Where you can go in there.
Well, we finally will, in a few minutes, we'll tell you the tale of woe. This one's actually really bad.
Oh, it's bad.
But it was fixable, but it's so bad.
I just want to point out that this tale is about sushi. And
it's a whale of a tale.
And not about the hot dog. She should have just gotten the hot dog.
Oh, I bet there's plenty of people that get sick, but maybe not to what she had.
Not like this.
Not like this.
You know, you lose a little weight from that hot dog and you're done.
One bad day and it's fine.
Is it healthy eating so many snacks, chips, and Oreos every single morning? No, of course not. But they do it for you.
Too many guys got the stomach for this line of work.
That's real love. It's the Riot on RadioU.
Nikki, I got to throw in one more text from Meg. Meg says, hey guys, absolutely no to gas station sushi. Not even Japan sells gas station sushi, and I'd trust their cleanliness tenfold over ours.
Sure, you're supposed to not. Even though, again, with this story, they're saying that what this woman got was probably in the fish all along and has nothing to do with the oversell date on this because it was expired, or maybe that didn't help the situation out.
Hey, listen, say what you want.
You think the two are combined?
Say what you want.
Gosh, this lady really got something bad.
Tainted source from now on. Now, this comes from The Takeout, which is a blog from the Daily Mirror, and then they have followed this up with Chubby Yumu, which someone had texted about. So here's the idea. This woman, she goes home. She bought gas station sushi. It was in the fridge. It was past the sell date.
About 5 days, I think is what they were saying.
So she was like, you know what?
So it was a little sour.
You know how it is when you're hungry and you're really tired and you're just like, you know what? Even
you're
if
rolling the dice and you're fine.
I'll be kind of sick tomorrow, but right now I don't care. This lady really should have cared. She goes to bed, and then all of a sudden, as tired as she is, she's got insomnia. Then she begins to have anxiety and confusion and an elevated heart rate.
And that's not just the first night. This develops into this.
This keeps going. It's not 30 seconds later this all starts. She said she started having an elevated heart rate and that it felt like her heart was beating out of her neck. Then she started having stomach cramps, and this is my favorite.
Aww.
She said she could feel her stomach jiggle before she went to the bathroom. It's moving.
Oh, and so then at this point, they said she was really malnourished. You're like, well, she was still eating stuff with it, but she would just be so sick constantly. But they were like, well, wait, why are you still malnourished? She would have hallucinations of bugs crawling up the walls and under her skin, along with the anxiety. So she was really a mess at this point.
Then she started having seizures. And then the doctor was like, wait a minute, you're passing tapeworm eggs.
So she had a huge tapeworm in her. When I looked, they say they can grow up to 9 meters long, which is like 29 feet long. They don't know how long, or they don't say how long hers was. But they take tapeworms, like suck the vitamin B12 out of you.
Yes.
So when you have a lack of vitamin B12, if you're very anxious and stuff, sometimes they say that can be a telltale sign that you are lacking in this, because that brings the anxiety, the insomnia and stuff. And it was basically taking all her nutrients from her.
Yeah. So we don't know how, but they got the tapeworm out.
Well, it's a dose of a anti-worm medicine, which I've only ever had for my pets. I don't like to think that's a human thing too. And she made a full recovery, but they were just commenting on that.
Nobody get mad at me for what I'm about to say.
Sure.
But I'm just going to tell you, like, if I took the anti-worm stuff and then, it doesn't just disappear.
I don't want to. No, I think it does. It burns up in your stomach.
I just want you to know that, like, I don't know.
I'd be at the
what I'm
hospital.
gonna do.
I'd be at the hospital.
You're at the hospital. But
I would
you're just
have to be there until things
Doctor,
were fine.
I'm going to need you to knock me out
my
or give me
hand.
like the Twilight or whatever it is. The stuff that makes you not remember.
Oh, I want to wake up like 15 days later. That's what I want. Everything's good. You've recovered. You're fine. But I need that. I need to be not available.
Can I just have surgery?
Can you just take it out?
Can you just take it out? And they're like, that's not a good option. Well, it might be.
I'll pay for it, please. But yeah,
just tell my insurance company whatever you have to say.
I know, like, what's the code for that? But that's what it was. And again, that was from the fish.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah, no gas station. No, I don't want any sushi.
They said if you ever have insomnia or anxiety problems and you never used to have it, that is a sign where you should tell your doctor that perhaps you do have a tapeworm. That's when you should speak up.
Nikki, I get insomnia and anxiety all the time.
I know, but it's not me. I mean, it's not.
So now you're telling people, you're telling a room full of people with anxiety it might be a tapeworm.
No, and it's also a really hard time because the doctors don't necessarily want to work with you unless you have COVID at this point. And if you have other things, you're just kind of pushed to the side. They would never see you for this. You just have to deal with this.
Hey, I heard Dr. Nikki on the radio say it might be a tapeworm.
He said if you've never had it before.
I've got to get in there, doctor.
No, and doesn't that sound like you're lying too? Like you just looked it up online and that's what you came up with based on your symptoms?
That's
that you
what
have
I heard. It's a tapeworm.
No, just say you heard a medical doctor. It's not me, but you just heard someone talk about it.
Just remember today, if you feel anxious.
No, and you're losing sleep.
Yeah. It's probably a tapeworm.
Fine.
So just go ahead and add that to your COVID list of things to be terrified of.
2020.
You might be thinking that this won't be quite as bad the second time around. Well, you'd be greatly mistaken. You're listening to the worst of the Riot podcast.
Huh. You know, it's weird, Nikki. When we were talking about gas station sushi moments ago, we had a whole lot of people text in.
Sure.
But when you and I began discussing Inframan, which is a 45-year-old Chinese film made, I just really...
Are you saying you're surprised you didn't see the same amount of support for an old movie when you talked about it compared to the stuff that could affect us day to day?
I just thought it was odd that we didn't hear from anybody on that topic at all.
Maybe no one else has seen it. I've never heard of it before.
Well, we'll see, but wouldn't that, you'd be so excited, you'd be like, how do I see this?
I'm not into classic movies.
How do I don't think that's the right word.
What do you think we should say?
We call it a classic just because it's old. When you get to be old, are you just a classic now?
I feel like a lot of people count classic movies as like black and white and like way back in the day.
This is color.
I feel like these are in that zone where I don't know what it counts as.
Man, it's the Shaw Brothers, like those people that made all those Hong Kong like kung fu movies from the 60s and 70s. Whew.
Makes it a little better, I guess. It's got some name behind it.
The production value is actually really high.
I know,
for
but
the time and place.
I can't even get through current things. I can't go back to watch these things.
See, that's the thing is I just feel like I've given up on current things. I just watch current things and I'm really hard on them. Whereas something this old, it's, you know what? It's the uncanny valley. That's what it is. You know how they say that with like computer animation or whatever? If something looks too human, then all you do is notice what's wrong with it. But if it doesn't look that human, then you notice the similarities instead of the differences.
Is that like with the, what was that movie, The Polar Express?
Right.
How it looked so weird.
Right, because you noticed the differences instead of the similarities.
Gotcha.
And if the closer it gets to being real, the more you notice the differences than the similarities.
Where this Kung Fu movie really doesn't look real at all. It
looks so bad that I'm just like really proud. I'm really proud of them for the work they've done instead of watching something new where I'm like, what is this?
What is this stuff?
Come on.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry that you haven't seen the support that you thought text message wise.
It's fine.
A lot of people come to you for these movie recommendations, and it doesn't mean he's recommending the movie. He's just saying that you are?
Oh, yes.
And again, what is it? What is it?
Super Inframan.
Super Inframan. Even saying it is so hard to take you seriously with it.
It's so great.
It's only because it was on Amazon. It was free.
I found it.
Yeah. Why did you find it? Was it on a podcast or something?
Something I belong to.
A Reddit forum?
For Mystery Science Theater people, and they were like, hey, have you ever seen this? This is where they got the idea for the blank. And I was like, wait, I've never seen it. And everybody's like, oh my gosh. I mean, I didn't say it out loud. I was just reading through it.
Did you gasp?
When I actually thought, I was like, you know what? I don't want to watch this thing. And then I thought, you know what? Christmas Chronicles 2 was a huge bummer. I'm just gonna try something
Cleanse
else
the palate with something else.
And I was laughing with glee within like 2 minutes.
All right.
I mean, there's this thing where this guy's driving down the cliff or something. I still don't understand why he's down the cliff, but all these people jump out and he's like, ah! And he's like falling down the.
Don't spoil it, though. We really want to experience it, just going in it with fresh take.
It didn't make any sense, and it was hilarious.
Well, Jason's got it. He knows what you're looking for. He says, I have no idea what you're talking about, but I think it's wonderful and, of course, very important.
There you go.
Thank you, Jason, for recognizing and realizing what Obi wants. Yeah, he just wants a little positive support.
I feel like I'm getting more and more out of touch with regular people. And I don't know if the quarantine has made it worse. Spent all that time by myself, what I like, what I think is important, what I'm interested in.
Well, that's not even just your COVID quarantine, but like from the beginning of this entire year, you've got more time to watch all these things.
Maybe I need to get with some people or a person, like a licensed person.
I think you need to stop watching older movies.
No. I'm not.
But you did that before COVID stuff. You were even, last year, you were way into that.
I'm just getting concerned. Okay, that's all. Concern for myself.
Are people really still listening to the Riot? You don't have work to do or laundry to fold or literally anything else to do? The Riot, RadioU.
So we've been talking supply and demand, and I mean, we've specifically here been talking about the PlayStation 5, but there are other supplies and other demands, Nikki. Like, for example, you demand food. Like, I mean, there are rumors floating that given the choice, Nikki would really, really like to just have a DoorDash gift card?
I've gotten back into it. Not necessarily always to have it delivered, but if not, I just order it through DoorDash. So I've gotten back into the food delivery more than I used to.
Yeah.
And go in waves.
How would you feel if that was the kind of gift card I got you for Christmas?
I would actually really like it.
Okay.
Even more than Amazon.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So
that will fuel the passion, though, that comes with this.
I get it. So not them, but Grubhub, they've put out a list of their, like, what are the favorites? Because they say, listen, we're the ones that have been handling your orders. You can say what you want to say, but we know what you're actually ordering.
I feel it's all really weird choices for the states.
Agree.
So, I mean, I don't think they're lying, but I feel like if I thought of these states and what would be the number one or one of the top things that people were ordering, none of these seem right.
I agree with you. But remember, this is not going to be what people go to a restaurant to order. It's what they want at home. So maybe you get
it's their private order. They don't want everybody else to know they're getting these things.
Hey, I'll tell you right now, when you are locked up, I had a friend of mine call. I was like, hey, can I bring you anything? Like, whatever. What do you want? And I was like, I want McDonald's French fries.
Well, that
Bring
makes
me
sense.
French fries.
Not this stuff. Like for California, they said the portobello steak, which is basically a portobello mushroom. It's made to mimic sort of like a steak. And they say California, that was the top order.
But isn't it on top? No, it's not. Never mind. So, all right, there you go. All right, well, how about Michigan, Nikki?
Michigan was a barbecue burger.
Come on, now that's America.
It does. I feel like it would be just barbecue. That's the one that's throwing me off. But I guess a hamburger would be the top choice.
Ohio, the buffalo chicken pizza. Oklahoma, caramel creme brulee.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing?
See, some of these things are just odd choices. Kansas has the deep dish pizza.
Okay. Hey, you know what? I support that.
Illinois has the hot chicken sandwich.
Oh, that sounds good. If you scroll down with their stuff, they'll actually tell you, like, of different categories across the U.S. what was the most ordered. So, for example, the most ordered burger was the garlic mushroom burger.
From where? Or that was just the style of it?
Just the style of that was the most Grubhubbed burger this year.
So the top trending dish of 2020, so the top most talked about trending was the spicy chicken sandwich.
It's fascinating.
Runners up would be chicken burrito bowl, fried chicken wings, waffle fries, and cold brewed coffee.
Man, I could just eat it.
The whole list, right? That's a list that matches with us, not the other things.
I agree.
Not the portobello steak.
Top side dish, number one, the French fry.
Yes, onion rings. You've got gluten-free tater tots, 4 Thai chili Brussels sprouts, and then something else.
Elote?
Yes.
I know I've heard of that before, but I don't know what. But that's what Grubhub says.
That's the corn on the cob that's got the stuff on it.
Yeah. So that is Grubhub's, like, these are the most ordered things of 2020.
You're not going to talk about the dessert category?
I wasn't, but feel free to jump in.
The top dessert of this year, they say, is an apple pie.
All right.
And then hot fudge sundae, creme brulee, Italian ice, and a chocolate chip cannoli.
Chocolate chip cannoli. Mm-hmm. That sounds delicious. And I do love apple pie.
It all sounds good. We could eat.
I feel like a good apple pie is hard to get at a restaurant, though.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you know what? I don't often order pie at restaurants for that reason.
And I don't know if it's just me. Text if it's not just me to make me feel better. But when I do like Grubhub or DoorDash and stuff, I can't afford to get the dessert then because it's so expensive. So
that's why
I can only get the other food. So
that's why Nikki's looking for those DoorDash gift cards.
I know. And I still want to tip well, so you don't cheat out that way. But otherwise, the desserts are not allowed.
You know what? I've got peanut butter. You can just give mine to the food bank.
Donate that? Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
If you missed out on the next Riot moment when it originally aired, you don't know how lucky you are. You're listening to the Worst of the Riot podcast.
So I need some audience research here, Nikki.
Sure.
And I'm going to ask you, Chris, maybe you.
Christmas tree?
Christmas tree, whatever you have to say. Please text me, 877-2RadioU. I want to know something that you wanted for Christmas really badly, and you got it, and it was disappointing.
Oh, it didn't live up to the hype you had.
So, like, you had, like, major hype built up for this thing that you wanted for Christmas, and you got it, and then you were like, and it's not what you thought it was going to be.
Well, you have to
Do
think
you
back.
have anything like that?
I'm not coming, like, maybe when remember, like, years ago, there was this BlackBerry Storm when I was younger, Nikki.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't think that was just the tech. And I didn't have the card to run it, so I couldn't even use it that day. But I had really wanted it. But outside of that, I don't know. I don't think there has been much else.
Man, I've been trying to think of, like, what was a toy or a thing I really
that you were
wanted.
sad about.
But I mostly just remember the stuff that was really good. But I can't know. Like, I have to be alone in this. There's got to be some good, like, I really wanted the blank, and when I got it, I hated it.
Now, I think there's stuff that I didn't want that you end up getting.
Oh, sure.
And that's fine. But sometimes we build up something so great that it does not stand a chance to actually fulfill what we think it'll be.
Right. I think
lesson right there.
Yeah, well, that BlackBerry Storm's a good example.
Just something tech-wise where you just weren't feeling it as much.
Here's what it came down to. They didn't have an iPhone on Nikki's carrier.
Oh, yeah, it was way back. That was baby Nikki who didn't know.
I know.
And then, I changed and it was fine.
And now everything's fine. Now Nikki continues to never be disappointed by an Apple product ever.
Well, I guess if anybody can think of something that, even down to when you were younger, was there anything that disappointed you?
I would almost rather hear that. I feel like as a kid, you're probably more likely.
Yeah, you were so intense on getting something.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be the best thing that happens. I want this, I want this, I want this. And then you get it and you're like, oh.
Aww, well, text if anyone can think of something.
The Riot RadioU.
So the question was, have you ever wanted something really badly for Christmas and then you get it and then it's disappointing? And I'll just tell you what it's for. I'm working on, this sounds so bad, but I'm gathering some disappointment stories because, now listen.
For something?
Well, I'm working on something that is kind of talking about 2020
Sure.
and like, okay, 2020 has been disappointing. So I want not some 2020 examples of disappointing. I need some funny stories of disappointment that we can all. And there, Chris drops the star again.
Chris is in the studio putting our Christmas tree up, and it's just the little one. We're not doing the big one this year, but the little one is being a bit
real struggle.
It has been a bit. It's too heavy of a star. It's not made for that size.
All right. Do we have some tape? We could just.
Yeah, probably, but.
That feels 2020.
We can staple it.
That thing, I'll tell you what, it's going to kill Hudson. That's what's going to happen.
Just for every DJ
Maybe
who
not
comes
kill him,
in,
but like he's going to be hurt.
Don't touch the studio. Don't touch. Don't
Anything.
knock things. Don't bang your hand on the desk because then it's just going to knock it down.
That's doing all right.
Over time.
Well, I was just testing it.
Just testing the waters.
Yeah, so I was looking for funny disappointments. Here's what we got. Andrea says, does graduating with my degree count as something when I was young but didn't meet expectations?
We'll let that one count. We understand that.
There's some truth to that one, right? Kyle says, not for Christmas, but the game Spore was the biggest letdown of something I was excited for. A lesson to never board the hype train again. Andy says, when I was 10, I really wanted the Myst video game. It played it at my cousin's house and pined for months. It was awesome, but I beat it in 4 days.
Oh, so then you were so disappointed. Oh, I didn't even think about that because it would be done already.
So it wasn't that the game was a disappointed. It was how short it was.
Andy, it was just because you were too good.
Well, if you're 10, you're probably playing 14 hours a day for 4 days straight.
You could do it.
You packed an entire month's worth of gaming into like 3 days. On Christmas break, oh, man. Sounds like something where I've been there, done that. So, yeah, I'm looking for, and again, I know it sounds bad, but I'm looking for disappointment stories. But I mostly Christmas disappointment. Like, hey, you wish you got something and you got it and it didn't
You
live
thought
up
it was
to
going to be everything, but
the expectations.
Yeah, it wasn't there.
Yeah, so if you got them, text them 8772-RADIO-U. A lot of people,
people
texting about video games that were disappointing.
Kelsey's like, The Last of Us Part 2 was disappointment. Again, this all accounts we meant because you wanted it so much, it was disappointing. Not that the product itself was disappointing.
Well, that's no. That
will count
like
too?
when you get the thing, you're like, this isn't anywhere near as wonderful as it was supposed to be.
So The Last of Us Part 2 does count then.
It technically does count. I mean, I get it. I totally get it.
Worst of the Riot podcast.
So, Nikki, over the weekend, it would appear that a lot of critics got a chance to get a glance at Wonder Woman 1984.
Hey, it is about time that the early screenings of it would it be possible? Because that'll be out on Christmas Day.
It will. So it's going to be in theaters where that's available. It's also going to be on HBO Max, which if you have HBO Max, it'll be quote unquote free with your subscription. It'll also be their first movie they've ever had in 4K and I believe HDR.
On HBO Max.
Right. I mean, other
not like
places.
in theaters and other places.
It's the first time a 4K film has ever been shown anywhere in the world.
I don't want anybody to be confused about that. It's just all the other stuff has not been in that format for HBO Max.
So the person that's getting the most traction, at least on Twitter this morning, is the guy from Fandango who has seen it. And he says it's an absolute blast from start to finish. Heart, hope, love, action, romance, and humor. They say that the opening sequence is stunning. Every action scene is different and unique, and that it's among Hans Zimmer's best scores. And finally, this is from Courtney Howard. I don't know who she writes for, but this is her on Twitter. She says, a blockbuster with lots of value, tonally reminiscent of the Superman movies in the best spots.
It's nice to have a good movie out, like a big one.
I completely agree.
We need a big We haven't had a big feeling movie in quite some time. And I said this earlier. I'm really curious how I'll react to it because I paid for Mulan. Mulan was a bad movie. Put that aside. But the fact when I watched Mulan, it was the first what was supposed to be a bigger movie.
Yeah.
At home through, Disney Plus. And I was really underwhelmed, even just in the very start of the movie, because I could pause it. I wasn't in a theater. Like, it was just a little different feeling than I thought it would be. I missed the excitement of going to see it in a theater.
That's actually my favorite part of seeing a movie in a theater is that you basically have blocked out that time. Like, hey, like the next 2 hours, I'm off the grid.
Yeah.
I'm just watching this movie.
But when you're at home, anything, starts happening, and it just didn't have the same excitement for it.
Sure.
So with Wonder Woman, it being way bigger, I think, than even Mulan was, I'm very curious how we'll watch it and if that same excitement will be there with it.
Completely agree. I continue to think about maybe going to see it in the theater.
Now, we have theaters still open in our area. I don't know about by then. But you could go see it in a theater. It's just if you're comfortable with it.
Well, again, why would I not be?
True.
I've had COVID.
Oh,
so
yeah. You're not the one to ask
that's
with
what
that.
I'm saying.
Yeah, you could go see it.
I'm not being a punk about it. I'm just telling you, for me, it's like I've had COVID. So
would you go then?
Sure.
Or would you, because you already have it at home?
That's the only thing that's a tough call is that the convenience of having it at home to watch it. It's like, man, I don't know. But I would kind of like to. It'd just be cool to go to the movies. I haven't been to the movies since January.
Long time.
Yeah. So, it's a thought. It's
so
out
they
there.
say it's pretty good? Seems like good reviews then?
Most of the reviews I'm rating are spectacular. It could also be that these people are also desperate for a movie.
That they'll say anything and everything.
Who the heck knows?
That's a good point, too.
But, maybe it is. Maybe it lives up to the hype. Maybe it's good.
Thanks for listening to the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Oh, no! I missed it! Do it again!
You can hear us live every day on the RadioU network through the RadioU app or at riot.radiou.com.
That's why I hate it here. They won't let us build fires in here.
They just